Hi, Libra Sun and Rising. Welcome to your February 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here. I think you're going to like this one because there's a lot of energy in Aquarius. And Aquarius is your fifth house. And the fifth house is the house of love and creativity. And those are two things that you are down with. And the other thing that this is all about is something to do with the Mercury retrograde, because back in January, and actually as I'm recording this, it's on the eve of the Mercury retrograde. So Mercury goes retrograde, according to me, it's the future, on January 14th. And that's in your fifth house, and then it goes back into Capricorn, a late degree of Capricorn. So, because of the Venus retrograde and the Mercury retrograde, I have been saying for the last couple of months that people from our past can show up. Now, in my case, I have not experienced this, so that is a little bit of disclosure there. It's not going to be true. None of these things are true 100% of the time. But some of you may have experienced this in a significant way. And because of this, this can lead to having a decision to make. I think I did a recent tarot reading where it was like that, where there was some decision for Libra in particular. And so this new moon that we're going to be experiencing in the fifth house is either on the 31st of January or the 1st of February, depending on where you live in the world. And it's at 12 degrees of Aquarius. So this can be a situation where there is new love coming into your life. And because this is where Mercury retrograded, and I just checked, and Mercury actually retrograded at 10 degrees of Aquarius. So here we have this new moon at 12 degrees. So there's like something that I find very interesting about that. And it may, this new development it's coming when Mercury is still in retrograde motion for a couple more days. So there might be something tied to that time when it went retrograde back in mid-January. And, you know, I have to say, since I'm recording this on January 13th, that it hasn't happened yet. I shouldn't really pretend, but yeah. And so anyway, this is occurring in the new moon is occurring in that fifth house, and it can be new love coming in. It can be a new attitude towards love. And of course, for Libra, love is, you know, everything to you. So it's important that you look at your attitude towards love, because sometimes if it is taken to the extreme, it can be detrimental to yourself. You know, you rule the area, the seventh house of committed partnerships. So it's about partners. And I have seen in my own life that Libra people tend to like to collaborate rather than doing things alone. But sometimes we have to do things alone. I actually had a Libra person say once, I don't like to be alone. And I'm thinking to myself, that's crazy talk. I mean, for me, because I'm a real introvert, always have been, and I love being alone. And I actually think it's superior to being with other people. I know that that's not popular in the world because, you know, we're taught that, you know, it's important, it's psychologically healthy. And of course, if you're doing anything in a reactionary mode, it's probably not being done in an authentic way. I'm not talking about just isolating yourself because you just hate humanity and you don't trust anyone. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being comfortable being by yourself. If you can't be comfortable with that, then it's very risky because you can seek out relationships that are not serving you and that are beneath you, that are actually degrading and just not affirming to all the wonderful things that you are. And you are wonderful. So never forget that. Okay, so maybe you're starting a new creative project. I don't know. Fifth house can be the business that you own as well. On the 3rd, Mercury stations direct at 24 degrees of Capricorn, will be in contact with Pluto, 27 degrees. I think that's very important for humanity, because Pluto is about rebirth, but it's also about death. And to me, this is like death of an illusion. Pluto goes beneath the surface. It's like the detective. It doesn't accept things at face value, and Mercury is the mentality and communication. So, with Neptune in Pisces and all of the deception that we're seeing at a massive level, this could be a turning point. It's funny, I could say pardon the pun, but it's really, because I'm saying Mercury is stationing direct, so it's turning around. But yeah, and for you, this is happening in the 4th house of home and family. So this is one of the water houses. And of course, because you have Pluto here, you probably have been through the ringer psychologically for years now. I don't mean, when I say through the ringer, I don't mean like a basket case, something very, traumatic necessarily. It doesn't have to be, but I mean that you've had to confront things that you didn't want to confront, especially a Libra person, because you tend to like everything to be copacetic. You want everything to just be harmonious. And I have known Librans in my time, and I have found that one of the things that is one of the pitfalls is that the more that you seek harmony, the more you create drama and chaos. The more that you are comfortable with what is, and if you are with somebody who is constantly creating that chaos, that you say, you know what, that's not my job to make them happy or make them not act like an a-hole. That's not my job. So I'm going to let them go in love, instead of trying to fix them or be, twist into a pretzel to become what they want you to become. Because I think a lot of times that happens. That's when you realize what is yours and what is somebody else's. And this is really about that, going back, digging back into childhood. That's what the 4th house represents. It can also represent the mother. Yeah. Some people say the father. Oh, I wish it could be more. I wish it could be more exact. But whatever. If you had issues with your dad, then that might be something. But this is ultimately for healing. That's the purpose of Pluto. So even if you do go through the ringer, when you come out the other end, you are a new creature. And that's the thing about Libra, not needing to be nicey nice, to own your, to stand in your power or to reclaim your power, because maybe from childhood something happened that was traumatic that made you feel powerless. And now you have to reclaim that power and not allow these strong figures to come in and try to dominate you, if you've experienced something like that. So Mercury stations direct here, and Also, this might have something with Mercury retrograde here. If you're selling property, something may get sorted out in the next few weeks because Mercury still will be in its shadow for a couple of weeks. Documents can be Mercury. On the 14th, Mercury goes back into Aquarius, back into that fifth house. So another thing too is, this is kind of a weird, wild example, but this might actually be somebody, so I'm going to just say it. That's how I'm trusting, to really flow with my intuition if something comes into my head and say it. Kind of like the 700 Club and Pat Robertson. So if there's somebody out there who has, when you, maybe you married your high school sweetheart or something like that, or maybe they're the one that got away and you reestablished contact recently, then it is causing you to have to deal with a current situation, possibly. There was a full moon in Aries a couple of months ago, and it was at a late degree, so it could have been like the straw that broke the camel's back, or really disclosure on a marital level, or committed partnership, other type of committed partnership, where one person could no longer be in denial over the other person's infidelity or other types of bad behavior, and you've had to kind of deal with that in the aftermath of that. And that may bring you back thinking about maybe getting with somebody as a rebound effect because you couldn't be with the one that you really loved. There's all kinds of permutations with this. What I was initially going to say was if you married somebody very young, maybe to get out of your house and to escape your, dysfunctional family, and then you found, you realize that even if you had kids with this person, you may have realized that you didn't really love them, even if they're not a bad person. You just know that they're not the one. And now you're kind of faced with that, and perhaps you've met somebody that really feels like they're the one, then yes, that might be a choice that you have to deal with. If something like that sounds like what you've been dealing with, you might want to check out my mid-January tarot reading, because I think there was something like that there. But anyway, on the 16th, we have a full moon at 28 degrees of Leo. And this is a friendly angle to Libra. This is coming from the 11th house. So you might have a dream come true. 11th house can be hopes and wishes and, like long range goals type of thing. And the other thing is that if you are dealing with selling property, you might be saying goodbye to your friends, maybe having a big party or something like that. That's another thing about the 5th house. When you have plants going through here, you want to just socialize, have fun. It's a house of pleasure, so just doing things that are fun. On the 18th, the sun goes into Pisces. And Pisces is a much more down to brass tacks area because it's the 6th house. It's the house of Virgo in the universal chart. So it's about schedules, routines, the work that you do, or I like to call it the service to others. It can even be pets. It can be health and that kind of thing. And it can, whether you're doing something to make yourself healthier or you're training in the healthcare field, anything that has to do with health. And we're going to see more of these transits as March comes on. All month long, your ruler, Venus, is in Capricorn. It's gaining degrees, and it will come out of its shadow in early March. But so it's strengthening. And as I stated, when it retrograded, it was in that fourth house. So now we have Mercury for the first few weeks of the month, also in that fourth house. So yeah, Venus can be money. So there might be some kind of an issue about money, maybe a down payment on a home, or if you are selling, getting money from that property. Mars is in Capricorn. Yeah, Mars is in Capricorn too. So you have a lot, actually. I was talking about Aquarius, but you actually have a lot in the fourth house. And Mars is very feisty, but it can be very warlike. And this is not something that how you tend to act, but you may be moved to act about something if it really angers you. So if there is any kind of an issue with inheritance, for instance, or if you're getting divorced, you might be like, oh, no, you don't. You're not going to cheat me yet again. You know, I'm going to fight this tooth and nail type of thing. And so that could be very contentious. Also, with the fourth house, we're talking about the mother, you know, having these kinds of maybe clashes, possible clashes, and in some cases it might just be more activity with her. The other thing too is if you're, you know, doing some kind of renovation on a home, that could also be Mars in the fourth. Okay, that's what I have for you, Libra. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.